Hi, everyone. Welcome to another Journalist Toolbox training. My name is Mike Reilley, the founder and editor of the Journalist Toolbox. Today, we're going to work with Google's NotebookLM tool. We're going to use it a little bit differently than we did in part one, where we just uploaded a document and wrote some prompts to ask it a few questions, then turned it into a podcast and FAQ and some other things. This is a little more advanced version of it as it's increased its capabilities in the summer of 2025. So if you want, hit pause right now. And if you don't have a NotebookLM account, go ahead and set one up at this address, notebooklm.google. And also open up our exercise because you'll need to cut and paste a few prompts out of there. So that link is bit.ly/notebooklm2. In our original NotebookLM training video, which is this one right here, will be linked out of the description of this video. So you'll be able to go back and watch the first one in case you missed it. So go ahead and hit pause and then go ahead and set up the account if you haven't already, or at least log in, and then open up the exercise as well. Okay, welcome back, everybody. You should now have NotebookLM set up and opened up. And also NotebookLM exercise open. This is NotebookLM 102 exercise. And what I'm going to do is just walk you through a few steps. In part one, what we did was ask NotebookLM or uploaded some information into NotebookLM, maybe a term paper or a news story you've written or something like that, and asked it to analyze it and then repackage it as a podcast. It does a really nice job of recording podcasts and other things, FAQs, briefing documents if it's a very long story. But now we're going to have it go out on the web and find information, bring it in, and analyze it. And they've also added a mind map feature in this tool. It does take a little while for it to process. It's not quite as quick as the podcast and some of the other features. So this little handout, this step-by-step here, walks you through everything. I did one with Nike. We're going to pull the transcripts from the quarterly earnings calls from Nike and Tesla. And thank you for the folks at UC Berkeley, Peter Patchell, and also Peter Bittner and his crew, Chris Krug. They're the ones that showed me how to do this. So they use the Tesla example. I'm going to use Nike example just to mix things up a little bit. So wanted to give them full credit for they're the ones that taught me how to do this. So we're going to go ahead now into NotebookLM. Here's your past exercises that you've done or your past queries that you've done. We're going to just hit create new. And again, the step-by-step walks you through all this. And then it gives you this option to upload information or choose a file to upload. It also now, as of spring of 2025, allows you to link to your Google Docs or Google Slides, link to a website, YouTube, and so on, cut and paste text in, whatever you want. And then it's got this Discover Sources button up here that allows you to go in and find information online and link off to it. For now, we're going to click the X up here. We're not going to use this portion of it. First, we're going to set up some custom instructions, kind of like what we've done with ChatGPT in the past, where you can program it to recognize, a role and to behave or react in a certain way. To do that, you have to click on this little button on the main interface up here, Configure Notebook. Don't worry about naming the notebook. We'll do that kind of as we go. So I'm going to hit Configure Notebook. And it allows you to kind of set up a conversational style with it, analyst, guide, choose the length of your response. Do you want longer responses or shorter responses? Or you can do the default, which is kind of in between. Go ahead and hit custom right now. And it gives you some examples. You can, respond at a PhD student level or an 8th grade level, or, respond as a college student or whatever you want it to do. I've written on our handout exercise a couple of prompts that you could put in here. So I'm going to start with, you're a business journalist and newsroom leader. You deal in facts, not speculation, and only report the truth, never fictionalizing. Good instruction to give any large language model tool. If you do this, it'll reduce the chances of of hallucinations greatly. Sign it a roll. You can write up to 500 characters. But I just give it this basic instruction, and I'll choose the default. I don't need a particularly short response or a long one. I'm just going to go with default for right now, and I'm going to hit save. You can go back and change this for any notebook that you want, but I'll leave it for this one. Now in the upper left-hand corner, it's got this add, if I wanted to upload data, discover. We're going to click on discover. And we have to describe something that we'd like to learn about, or can click on feeling curious, which should sound familiar to you Google users. And it'll just randomly choose a topic for you, which is kind of interesting. But I have something that I want to know here. So I'm going to go down here, and I've clicked my discover sources, and I'm going to ask for the last 10 quarterly earnings call transcripts from Nike. Nike's a publicly traded company. Every quarter, they have to have an earnings call. These earning calls transcripts are stored at the Securities and Exchange Commission. You can also get them on most company websites as well. So it's readily available information. It's just a pain to have to go download it all and then load it all in here. Here, it will pull it in for you, label it, and you can actually see the information. Now, if it's not available online, it's not going to show up in here. And we'll see what we get. It does take a little while for this to load, and it will give you each quarterly earnings report with a little checkbox by it to make sure that that's what you want. It looks like they're coming in. Some of these are in different formats. Some are in Word docs, PDFs, things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit import. We'll see if we got all of them. Every once in a while, you're not going to get everything you want. So it looks like we've got 2025, and it's giving me an error report. And I did this by default, knowing that it would. Sometimes it runs across files that have been removed or don't exist anymore. And we can delete them out here and just get rid of them. You can click on them and hit remove source. And it asks you, are you sure you want to delete it? Yes. And I'm just going to remove these. Now this is, it didn't give me all the information I wanted. So what I would do in this instance, I would go and either try the prompt again, probably try it one more time. I also could go in and, upload these individually just by add and go out and search for them and find them. So, I could do that. I'm just going to proceed with what we've got here, just in the interest of time. So I did select all sources, but it just didn't give me everything I looked for here. It does that from time to time. It's not perfect, it's AI. So here's a little summary. On Nike, it summarizes the calls of what it's talking about in each of the quarters, and they put these together in various quarters and then summaries as well. And you can save it as a note if you want to. You can do audio overview if you want to generate a little podcast on this, and I will, just for showing you a new feature it has. And then it's got the usual suspects in here: timeline, FAQ. This is all the stuff we covered in the first training video. Nothing really new here. But down here, we can go in and start asking it questions. It gives you a few defaults here. What are, Nike, how's Nike repositioning its brand? And I've given you some other ones here on the handout. How has Nike sales fared in the Asian markets, particularly China? How has Nike Air brand performed over the last, 5 quarters or something like that? What inroads has Nike made with the WNBA, specifically with Caitlin Clark? All, pretty hot button issues. You'd have to do a lot of reading to come up with this information. So, you don't have the time to read through every single report. This will take and analyze this information and summarize it for you, something AI is really good at. It goes through and hits on some of the key points out of those. And if you're ever unsure of anything that's in here, it does give citations here and shows you where they're listed in the document. So like line 112, line 86, line 1, it's got these other references in here too. You can also open up these documents over here. I forgot to mention that earlier, and actually read them. It summarizes them here, and then you can go through the full call here as well. It shows you all the information. You can filter it out by key topics, leadership transitions, things like that. if you want to know who's gone from Nike, things like that. So it gives you, this little summary based off of what I asked it. So it gives you the prompt here and then the answer here. So I'm going to do another one. This is one of my own, specifically how has Nike Air brand performed over the last 5 quarters? We'll see what it gives me. Notice it gave me the FAQ down here in the timeline too, the briefing timeline down here as well. So it's given me those little summaries, still generating the audio. It's doing a lot here because it's also giving me my response here. So it's doing a lot of work. Thank goodness my connection's working well today, my internet connection. So here it's summarized, over the past 5 quarters, it's been repositioning the Air brand, in first fiscal year 2025, quarter 1. It added the Pegasus 41 shoe launched, Alpha Fly in China, and lifestyle footwear and some other stuff in here too. The Air Max Muse and all these. I'm not up on all my Air Jordan shoes, but it gives me a good quick little summary out of here, and the citations again that you can look back on. I wouldn't copy anything out of here and publish it, but I would look back at the citations, and that's what is good about the summaries. It gives you just what you're looking for, rather than having to read through document after document after document, or transcript after transcript, and come up with it. So let's do one more. I want to see if some of the WNBA stuff will show up in here, because it's kind of interesting. Nike's been investing a little more in that area. So is Reebok, which has re-energized its basketball brand lately under Shaq and Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson. And they're considered a competitor of Nike's. Back in the 90s, they were a direct competitor, but they stepped away from basketball in the early 2000s. So renewed partnership with the WNBA. They'd signed a new partnership deal with them. Did some brand storytelling around the WNBA championship from the New York Liberty, the Sabrina shoe, Asia Wilson as well, and specifically Caitlin Clark. I mentioned her in the fiscal year second quarter earnings call. Not a lot of detail there on her, but there is a little bit. Okay. So, you can make these specific queries of all these earnings calls and come up with some really good stuff. And it'll work for other things too, other things that are available online about companies, about individual people, things like that. Now we have finally our little podcast finished up here, 22 minutes long. So it's got a lot of information up here. And I can go ahead and hit play. We'll listen to it for a minute here.
There are moments in sport that just stick with you, like when Faith Kipyegon, that phenomenal runner, took on the Breaking 4 challenge, trying for a sub 4-minute mile.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Incredible ambition.
Right. She hit a personal best, 4.06. But that attempt itself, the sheer, audacity of it, it kind of transcends the clock. It's about pushing limits.
It really is. It reminds you that even if you don't quite hit the mark, the effort, the drive to push beyond, that's often the real story, isn't it?
Absolutely. And that whole spirit of pushing limits, adapting, reimagining itself, that's exactly what we're diving into today. Our mission is to unpack the recent journey of one of the world's most iconic sports companies, Nike. We're going to take a stack of their own words, earnings calls, prepared remarks from late 2020 right through mid 20.
Okay, so it does go back to 2020. Some of those had been summarized, so I didn't have quite as many documents come in as I had originally thought. So now I clicked on that interactive beta button that was right underneath the call player. This is something new. It allows you to go in and have a discussion with it. So I can hit play here and they'll start talking again.
Welcome to the deep dive. There are moments in sport that just stick with you, like when Faith Kipyegon, that phenomenal runner, took on the Breaking 4 challenge, trying
And
for
I'll
a
hit
sub
join
4-minute
here,
mile.
and then
Oh,
I'll
yeah, I
ask
remember
them a
that.
question.
Incredible ambition.
Right. She hit a personal best, 4.06, but that attempt itself, the sheer, audacity of it.
Oh, hey there. How can we help?
Hi guys, thanks for having me on. I'm a little curious about how Nike has performed in the Asian markets, particularly China. What did they say on the call?
Oh, that's a fantastic question, and one we're definitely going to unpack.
Yes, China is a really crucial market for Nike, and they've actually had quite a journey there.
It does
In
this
fact,
little
early on
chatty
in late
stuff.
2020, amidst the pandemic, China was one of the regions that returned to growth pretty quickly for them.
That's right. John Donahue, the CEO at the time,
Notice
specifically
it did the
called.
little chatty stuff at the beginning. It was actually analyzing the calls, trying to come up with an answer, while it was, doing, oh, yeah, that's a really great question. And let's think about this. And, and then it went into, okay, recovered very quickly, which is true. I've actually pulled the SEC reports on on this. I do it for one of my data classes, and the China market was very quick to recover after the pandemic as far as Nike shoe sales. So, they're pulling us right out of these transcript calls. Guess again, you want to go back and check in the calls themselves to make sure what they're saying is right. But you can now interact with these calls, which is really cool. And you can download the audio and it'll have your question in here. So you're actually part of the podcast and record into it. And then I can tell it good discussion, bad discussion, how it performs and things like that. So you can do a lot with these tools. It's really expanded into, in a very great way, I think, because it's got all these earnings calls, information, and then also it has the podcast is interactive now, this little interactive mode. Plus, it has all of our favorites, study guide if it's student using it for school, briefing doc, timeline, and FAQ. You can go in and open these up. This is the timeline of main events at Nike. Breaks it down by date. It does a little better job down here. It actually breaks down it date by date breakdown of it, which is pretty cool. And then the second one is kind of the FAQ portion of it. So, you can do a lot with this tool. I would just start hitting that discover button and start, bringing in new information, analyzing it. You can write your own prompt still. It suggests a few down below, which is always nice. And play with the podcast. You can link off to the podcast. It's shareable. You can just hit the share button up here, give it public access, and share the link. You also can download it. This is what a lot of my students do. They download the audio and put it into SoundCloud or something, so you can put it in a player and put it right in your post. So a very versatile tool. Hope you find it useful. You can find NotebookLM, many other tools on the Journalist Toolbox, journalisttoolbox.ai. It's updated every day, including holidays. And you can open it up and find links to various tools, has short descriptions about those tools. It has training videos like this one built into it. And you can just play, and those videos run 5 to 15 minutes long. You can find those videos in the newsletter on the right rail. You can click on newsletter, or click on training videos. There's more than 125 training videos up here. Everything from AI tools to editing video and audio on your phone, a lot of data visualization tools. So if you have a staffer that needs to get up to speed on some technical tools, give them a few of these to watch and they'll get up to speed right away. Or if it's you, watch away. They're very short for a reason, because we know you don't have a lot of time. Most of them include an exercise like what you saw in this video. Our newsletter is on Substack. It's linked right off the right rail. You can open it up and you can watch it or read it through it in about 5 minutes. Usually has a training video or something cool in it. This one's about a really cool script and video maker AI app called Sophiana. It's you can paste your story in here and it'll generate hooks and a script and a teleprompter that you can tease out your news story. Makes it very easy to do that. And I also feature some other links in here as well and tools. So if you want to, take a stab at some other tools, you can. Like I say, it's a very short read. You can get through it in about 5 minutes. Comes out every other Tuesday morning, right around, I would say 8 a.m. Eastern time. One other last thing on the engage rail here on the right-hand side of the Journalist Toolbox. I have a custom GPT. I've trained ChatGPT's custom GPT feature on Journalist Toolbox. So you can click on that and go in and ask it any of these. I've got some sample prompts up here, but ask it about different types of tools. What are 5 good tools for analyzing and visualizing data sets, and it'll go through its knowledge base and give you a few of them. And these are all ones that I've got featured fairly prominently on Journalist Toolbox website. You can keep going in and asking more detailed questions too about each one. So take advantage of that. Yeah, we're recommending AI tools. We might as well build one too. So hope you found this useful, and God, use NotebookLM. Those new features are just fabulous. Thanks again. We'll see you on the next video.